Imagine discovering that a small, ordinary-looking Lincoln penny sitting in a jar on your dresser could be worth more than most homes in your neighborhood. Picture holding a coin struck in 1941 with no mint mark and realizing collectors today have paid up to hundreds of thousands of dollars for rare examples, with some sales reaching into life-changing territory. Now here is the real question. If one of those coins was already in your hands, would you even recognize it before someone else did? Let's begin with a powerful truth. Wealth often hides in plain sight. Old coins do not shout. They whisper. They sit quietly in boxes, drawers, coffee cans, and forgotten collections. And among them, the 1941 no-mint mark Lincoln penny has emerged as one of the most surprising discoveries for everyday Americans. Some exceptional pieces have been valued into the hundreds of thousands of dollars, with high-end market examples reaching the $900,000 mark. Think about that for a moment. A single cent, changing the trajectory of an entire family's financial future. Fear creeps in here too, because most people who stumble across rare coins never realize what they own until it's too late. Coins get spent at gas stations, traded for pocket change, tossed in Coinstar machines, or worse, sold for a fraction of their potential because the owner never learned what to look for. That is the nightmare scenario you and I are here to avoid today. So do not leave yet. Because in the next few minutes, you will understand exactly why the 1941 no-mint mark penny matters, what separates common from extraordinary, and how to position yourself to sell intelligently, confidently, and yes, profitably. And who knows, by the end of this video you may feel a sudden urge to raid that old coin jar. Don't worry, you will not be alone. Let's move deeper. First, what does no-mint mark actually mean? In 1941, Lincoln cents produced in Philadelphia did not carry a mint mark. So a missing mint mark does not automatically mean rarity. Millions were made. That's the twist. The power is not in the mint mark alone. It is in condition, in striking quality, in preserved luster, in hidden varieties, and in collector demand. That's where stories of six-figure auctions begin. Here comes a quick mental pattern interrupt. Ask yourself this. If a penny is worth $941,000, does that make it a dollarnaire? Or does that make you one penny away from early retirement? Humor aside, this is where attention must sharpen, because the difference between an ordinary 1941 penny and an elite value example can be microscopic and easy to miss. So what drives those astonishing price tags? Three major forces. First, pristine mint state condition, often with blazing red color. Second, dramatic error varieties or double dies that collectors aggressively compete for. Third, demand from high-end investors chasing scarcity. Coins in low grades may be worth only a few dollars, but coins preserved untouched for decades, with sharp strike detail and rare characteristics, are where the excitement truly begins. This is where fear meets opportunity, because every rare coin someone else recognizes before you is money walking out of your life. Now here is the cliffhanger you have been waiting for. Right after this next point, I am going to tell you the single biggest mistake owners of rare pennies make when trying to sell. But first you need one more crucial insight to understand why that mistake is so costly. Transitioning smoothly now, let's talk about grading. Grading is not just a label. It is a gatekeeper. A professionally graded 1941 no-mint mark penny in top condition can leap from pocket change value to luxury car value almost instantly. That is why ungraded rare coins sometimes sell for a fraction of their worth. So here it is, the biggest mistake. People rush to sell without certification, or worse, they clean the coin. Cleaning destroys value. It scratches history. It erases original surfaces. And it can turn a six-figure opportunity into a story beginning with the phrase, "I used to have one." That is a sentence I do not want you ever to say. Let's add some urgency. These high-end values exist in a marketplace driven by competition, investor interest, and current demand. Markets change. Interest cycles. What is hot today can cool tomorrow. High-value examples have reached around the $941,000 level in the best circumstances, but value always depends on condition, rarity characteristics, and buyer appetite at that moment. Which means waiting without knowledge can cost as much as moving too fast. The way to win is not guessing. It is educating yourself and acting with intention. Now imagine this final scene. You are at your kitchen table. A simple desk lamp shining overhead. You spread out coins you once overlooked. But now you see differently. You know what the 1941 no-mint mark Lincoln penny represents. You know that wealth is not only earned. Sometimes it is discovered. Sometimes it is already in your hands. Here comes a question designed to jolt your thinking. If a penny can be worth nearly $1 million, what else in your life have you been underestimating? This is more than a coin story. It is a wealth mindset story. The path to a wealthier lifestyle does not always begin with a lottery ticket or a risky investment. Sometimes it begins with knowledge, attention to detail, and the courage to take action when opportunity appears. That is how collectors turn finds into fortunes, how sellers avoid being taken advantage of, and how everyday people become part of a much bigger financial story. But the journey isn't over yet. In our next video, we dive into the rare era varieties inside the Lincoln series that almost no one talks about, including coins that look damaged, but are actually incredibly valuable. You do not want to miss that, because the coin you once thought was flawed might just be your most valuable asset. For now, here is your mission. Check your 1941 pennies. Look for no mint mark from Philadelphia. Avoid cleaning. Consider professional grading before selling. Research recent auction results. And treat every old coin not as pocket change, but as a potential key to the life you want. The window of opportunity is open right now, and someone is going to take advantage of it. Make sure that person is you. Because sometimes wealth is not found in banks or stocks or corporations. Sometimes it is found in the palm of your hand, disguised as a single Lincoln penny from 1941. Imagine reaching into an old jar of coins, one you nearly forgot about, and realizing that a single ordinary-looking penny could change your entire financial future. Not a lottery ticket, not crypto, a 1-cent coin. Today, we're talking about the mysterious 1944 no-mint mark Lincoln penny that has shocked collectors by being valued up to hundreds of thousands of dollars, with rare examples approaching million-dollar territory, and one recent market value hitting around $944,000. Before you toss that coffee can of change back into the closet, listen closely. Because the difference between 1 cent and life-changing wealth could literally be sitting in your home right now. Let's rewind to 1944. America was at war. Steel was needed for tanks, ships, and ammunition. The U.S. Mint was producing billions of coins, and small changes, mistakes, and metal transitions were happening under enormous pressure. Most 1944 pennies were made of copper. But here's where things get interesting. Some incredibly rare variations slipped through, and some, without a mint mark from Philadelphia, carry extraordinary value today. What looks like a normal brown penny can actually be a six-figure treasure. Pause for a second. When was the last time you actually checked the pennies in your house? Or did you do what most people do? Ignore them. If so, that tiny voice you're hearing now saying, "What if?" is exactly why you should stay until the end of this video. Because before this is over, you'll know exactly what to look for, how value is determined, and how a coin that cost 1 cent to make could be your ticket to a wealthy lifestyle and the freedom that comes with it. And don't worry, you don't need magnifying glasses, white gloves, and a museum basement. You just need attention, and maybe a small break from ignoring pennies like everyone else does. After all, who said small change can't make big change? Let's break the myth. Not every 1944 penny is worth millions. Fear can be powerful, so let's address it directly. No, you probably don't automatically have $1 million coin just because it says 1944. But here's the part most people miss, and it's why coins like this continue to bring shocking prices. Condition matters, rarity matters, metal composition matters, and demand from serious collectors matters. Now here's where your heart rate should pick up a little. A rare 1944 no-mint mark variety tied to unusual minting circumstances combined with exceptional condition can reach astronomical prices. We're talking about coins selling in the high six-figure range, with that eye-opening current market value near $944,000 that sends collectors into bidding wars. Think about that. The coin you ignored as loose change could be worth more than a house. There's excitement here, but there's also urgency. Collectors are hunting. High-value coins do not sit unnoticed forever. The longer rare coins remain ungraded, unprotected, and unknown. The more risk there is they get damaged, lost, or accidentally spent on a cup of coffee. Yes, imagine accidentally buying a donut with nearly $1 million penny. That's not financial advice. That's just a heartbreaking comedy you don't want to star in. Here's the emotional turning point. Many people watching this are 30 to 65 years old. You may have inherited coins from parents or grandparents. Maybe you have cigar boxes, jars, or albums tucked away. Those coins aren't just metal. They are time capsules. They are potential wealth multipliers. And they are opportunities. For some, they're a doorway out of debt. For others, they're a path toward investments, travel, or the secure, wealthy lifestyle you've worked your entire life to build. But how do you know if your 1944 penny could be among the valuable ones? That answer is coming. And trust me, you'll want to hear it before you dump your coins into another Coinstar machine. Quick question to reset your attention. When is the last time a penny made your pulse speed up? Exactly. Let's talk identification in plain English. Look at the year. 1944. Then look below the date. A missing mint mark means it was struck in Philadelphia. That alone does not guarantee insane value, but it puts you in the right category. Next, examine condition. Coins in uncirculated or near-perfect condition multiply in value dramatically because collectors pay premiums for beauty and preservation. Then, composition comes into play. Some extremely rare off-metal strikes exist, such as unexpected steel planchets from wartime transition periods. These are the legends. These are the ones that fetch jaw-dropping prices. That's where values skyrocket into six-figure and even million-dollar discussions. And here's the cliffhanger. The difference between an ordinary 1944 penny and an extraordinary one can be invisible at first glance and requires knowledgeable evaluation. Which means that yes, you could already own one without knowing. So where do you go from here? You have three choices. First, you can ignore this entirely and toss the pennies back in the jar. Safe, familiar, and possibly very expensive in opportunity cost. Second, you can look through your coins yourself, learn, research, and take your time. Third, you can have rare coins professionally evaluated, authenticated, and potentially sold to serious collectors or auction houses. That's where the life-changing part happens. This isn't just about money. It's about legacy, about recognizing that something small, overlooked, and ordinary can hold extraordinary potential. It mirrors life itself. How many opportunities have we all walked past because they didn't look like opportunity at first glance? And before we close, here's one more cliffhanger for your mind. Somewhere right now, someone is cleaning out a drawer, rolling pennies into paper sleeves, completely unaware that they may be holding a near $1 million coin. Will that someone be you? Or will you be the one who already knows what to look for? Let this be your moment of action. Check your 1944 pennies. Protect the valuable ones. Learn what you own. Take steps to sell smartly, not hastily. Your path to a wealthier lifestyle may not come from Wall Street. It may come from a 1-cent coin quietly waiting to be discovered. Because sometimes, the smallest things carry the largest fortunes. And now ask yourself one powerful question as this video ends. What if the next penny you touch isn't just change, but the change? Imagine for a moment that the key to changing your financial future isn't locked away in a bank, buried in the stock market, or hidden in some complicated investment plan. What if it's sitting quietly in a coffee can in your garage, inside your dad's dresser drawer, or sitting in a jar of pennies you haven't looked at in 20 years? Sounds unbelievable. Keep watching. It's not. Today, we're talking about the 1945 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. A humble, brown coin that most people walk past, step over, or spend without a second thought. Yet select examples have sold for staggering amounts, reported in the hundreds of thousands, and, in extraordinary circumstances, even approaching life-changing figures. Yes, a single penny. Now here's the twist that will make you look at pocket change differently forever. Some people threw these coins away. Others spent them on gum. And a few lucky people had one authenticated and suddenly found themselves staring at offers they never imagined possible. Which group will you be in? And before you answer, let me ask you another question. When was the last time you actually looked closely at your change? If your answer is never, stay with me. By the end of this video, you may be dumping every jar of coins you own onto the kitchen table tonight. Let's step back to the year 1945. The world was changing. The war was ending. Factories across America were roaring. Copper was essential for the war effort, and coins were being produced in massive quantities. The Lincoln penny had already become an American symbol. Hard work, grit, the belief that small things matter. Most of those pennies were ordinary. Millions were made. That's why so many people today assume a 1945 penny can't be valuable. And in most conditions, that's true. The majority are worth only a few cents. And here's where the story turns. A small number of coins struck with extraordinary quality, rare errors, or pristine preservation slipped into circulation. No mint mark means it came from Philadelphia. Combine a Philadelphia strike, high-grade condition, strong details, and sometimes unique minting characteristics, and suddenly you are no longer talking about pocket change. You're talking about serious money. But don't rush off to cash in just yet, because here is the fear part most people ignore. For every person who discovered a treasure, there is someone who sold a valuable coin for next to nothing because they didn't know what they had. Pawn shops bought them cheap. Uninformed sellers listed them online for pennies. That sinking feeling of realizing you let a fortune slip away. That's something I don't want you to experience. So how does a simple 1945 no-mint mark penny climb anywhere near six-figure or higher reported prices? 3 factors change everything: rarity of features, condition, and authentication. Condition first. A worn penny from your pocket is one thing. A coin preserved for decades with sharp details, original luster, and virtually no wear is another world entirely. Grading agencies exist for a reason. A difference of 1 grade can mean the difference between grocery money and a new car. Or more. Rarity next. Certain striking errors, double dies, off-center strikes, or unique planchet characteristics make collectors compete. And when wealthy collectors compete, values climb fast. Sometimes unbelievably fast. Bidding wars don't whisper. They roar. Authentication is the gatekeeper. Without it, your coin is just a story. With it, your coin becomes a documented asset. Third-party grading can be the bridge between, "I think this is valuable," and "here is the certified proof." That bridge is where confidence lives, and where serious money starts entering the conversation. You might be thinking, why haven't I heard more about this? Simple. Most people assume pennies are worthless. And the people who do find rare coins, they don't usually shout it from the rooftops. They quietly change their lives. Quick pattern interrupt here. If while watching this you just thought, wait, do I have old pennies somewhere? Congratulations, your brain just opened the right door. Don't panic if you suddenly feel the urge to text a family member. Do not throw away the coin jar. That's normal. Now, here comes your first cliffhanger. In just a moment, I'm going to tell you the one mistake that causes more people to lose out on massive coin value than any other mistake. And chances are you've already done it without realizing it. But first, let's talk about the emotional side of this. You worked hard your whole life. You paid bills, raised families, sacrificed sleep, time, and energy. Imagine discovering that something forgotten in a closet suddenly becomes the down payment on a dream home. The retirement boost you needed. The travel fund you always wanted, or the safety net you deserved years ago. That's not just money. That's validation that attention to small things matters. So what is the biggest mistake people make with rare pennies? They clean them. A little humor here. Somewhere out there right now, a well-meaning person is proudly scrubbing a rare coin with toothpaste saying, "Now it's shiny." Meanwhile, a collector is quietly fainting. Cleaning destroys original surfaces and can obliterate value instantly. That shine people love? It can reduce a potentially high-value coin to ordinary pocket change in seconds. So if you find something promising, resist the urge to polish your way into poverty. Leave it as is. Now let's talk about urgency. Markets move. Interest shifts. Coins change hands. High-grade examples entering the market can set new benchmarks. Reported sales in the high hundreds of thousands capture attention. But the window for top prices is never guaranteed. If you're sitting on something rare, timing and verification matter. Hoping is not a strategy. Action is. Here's the next cliffhanger. Right now in homes across America, there are still undiscovered 1945 pennies sitting quietly in drawers and boxes. Some will be found by people who watch videos like this. Others will be tossed into Coinstar machines and disappear forever. Which story will your coin tell? Let's transition into what to actually do next. Step 1. Gather your pennies. The old jars, the boxes, the inherited collections. Don't assume anything is worthless based on appearance alone. Step 2. Look for the date 1945 with no mint mark under the date. If you see one, pause. Breathe. Don't rush. Don't clean it. Step 3. Look at condition. Strong details in Lincoln's hair, wheat stalks on the back if it's a wheat cent, sharp lettering, minimal wear. If it looks unusually sharp compared to other old pennies, your excitement should rise a little. Step 4. If a coin looks promising, research reputable grading services and authentication options. You're not guessing anymore. You're verifying. And here's the final emotional trigger. This isn't just about a coin. It's about possibility. It's about realizing that wealth isn't always created by working harder. Sometimes it's unlocked by paying attention to overlooked opportunities already in your life. You're not just searching for a penny. You're searching for proof that the small things you saved, the memories you kept, the boxes you never threw away, might have been working for you all along. Before we close, one last pattern interrupt. If your next thought is, "This sounds exciting, but what are the chances?" Ask yourself this. What are the chances if you never look? 0. Absolutely 0. Sometimes the difference between ordinary and extraordinary is not luck. It's simply checking. As we wrap up, remember this. The 1945 no mint mark Lincoln penny is more than metal. It's history, it's craftsmanship, and for a rare few, it has meant extraordinary financial transformation. High reported market values capture headlines, but knowledge, patience, and authentication create real outcomes. So tonight, when you hear the faint jingling of coins in a drawer, don't ignore it. That sound might not just be pocket change. It might be your next chapter waiting quietly to be discovered. Search with curiosity, act with confidence, and never underestimate the power of something small to change your life in a big way. Now go check your pennies. Imagine opening an old jar of coins in your closet, the same one you've moved from house to house for decades, and realizing that one tiny brown penny could change the direction of your life. Stay with me because in the next few minutes we're going to talk about a specific Lincoln penny many people overlook, a 1948 no mint mark Lincoln cent that in the right condition has commanded staggering prices and ignited bidding wars. And yes, in select cases, we're talking about values soaring into the hundreds of thousands and beyond. Before you say, "It's just a penny," ask yourself this. What if the next story like that is yours? Act 1 begins with the hook most people never see coming. We grow up believing that wealth is always complicated, tied to stock tickers, real estate contracts, or winning the lottery. Yet hiding in old coffee cans, inherited coin albums, and forgotten dresser drawers are artifacts of American history struck in copper. The 1948 no mint mark Lincoln penny doesn't scream for attention. It was never intended to be glamorous. No mint mark below the date simply means it was minted in Philadelphia, the country's oldest mint. But here's where the ordinary becomes extraordinary. Certain examples, particularly in pristine, uncirculated condition with strong original luster, crisp details, or rare die varieties, have sold at jaw-dropping prices, with standout pieces reaching into record-setting territory. Suddenly that just a penny carries the kind of financial weight that makes people sit up a little taller and rethink what's possible. You feel that mixture of fear and excitement? Good. Fear that you might have already spent one without knowing. Excitement that you might still hold one, untouched and waiting. Those are the emotions collectors and sellers feel every day. It's the same energy that fuels auctions where a single copper coin crosses the block and someone raises a paddle knowing they're about to spend more than the price of a luxury car or even a home. Right now, the market for high-grade, rare Lincoln cents remains energized. Well-preserved examples of 1948 no mint mark pennies with exceptional grade, eye appeal, or desirable errors have been known to reach values many people never imagined possible, with standout sales pushing toward the high six figures. Markets fluctuate, of course, but the demand for rarity, condition, and story never goes out of style. Before we go deeper, quick pattern interrupt. Have you ever dropped a penny on the ground, looked at it, and thought, nah, not worth bending over? If your back just cracked when you imagined picking it up, congratulations, you're my target audience. But what if that one not worth bending over penny was the very coin that could fund your dream kitchen, your debt-free retirement, or yes, that life where you don't just worry about gas prices, you decide which coast you want to wake up on next? Now we move into Act 2, the rising tension. This is where we uncover what separates the life-changing coin from loose change. Condition is king. A 1948 penny that's been rattling around in pockets for decades is usually worth only a small premium. But a coin preserved with sharp details, minimal handling, and original mint brilliance becomes an entirely different story. Professional grading by reputable services transforms a nice old coin into a certified asset with recognized market value. That is where 5-figure, 6-figure, and even higher prices begin. Add in special characteristics like doubling, striking anomalies, or rare die varieties, and you have a perfect storm of scarcity and demand. This is exactly why people are shocked when a copper cent they once ignored reaches auction prices in the hundreds of thousands. With headline numbers we associate with fine art. Here's the cliffhanger you didn't expect. Somewhere in America right now, someone watching a video just like this is going to open a box. Recognize the date 1948 with no mint mark. Notice the condition is far better than average and get that electric jolt from head to toe. The moment you realize something small might be incredibly powerful is unforgettable. Will that be you? Or will it be the person who turns off the video and throws their old change into a Coinstar machine? That uneasy feeling right now, that urgency, is your brain saying, check your coins. Let's transition into another powerful truth. These coins do not just represent money. They represent history, resilience, and the American habit of underestimating small beginnings. The Lincoln cent was created to honor a leader who came from poverty. And in an almost poetic twist, the tiniest denomination in our currency has given ordinary people extraordinary financial windfalls. There's something deeply emotional about that. It reminds you that wealth is often hidden in places we assume are worthless. That fear of missing out, that surge of what-if energy, isn't there by accident. It's your opportunity detector turning on. Now, pattern interrupt number 2. Be honest. Are you mentally dumping your junk drawer on the table right now? If you are, good. If you're not, maybe ask yourself this serious question. Do you really want your neighbor discovering a 6-figure penny in the same yard sale box you were about to sell for $5? That would sting more than stepping on a Lego barefoot in the dark. We now push toward the peak of Act 2. If you own older coins, especially pennies from the 1940s, you are sitting on potential. Not guaranteed riches, not automatic millions, but real, verifiable potential. Every major auction house story begins with someone saying, I had no idea what I had. They were just like you. Mid-career, nearing retirement, maybe downsizing, maybe dealing with estates. They didn't plan on becoming coin sellers, but they recognized an opportunity, sought expert opinions, and positioned themselves for life-changing outcomes. That's where authority meets inspiration. The coin market rewards knowledge and action, not procrastination. Here's another mini cliffhanger. In a moment, I'm going to tell you the single biggest mistake people make that costs them hundreds of thousands of dollars in potential value. But first, take a breath. Let the reality sink in. One small decision, to get your coins evaluated properly instead of cashing them in by weight, can change your financial trajectory. That's not hype. That's discipline meeting opportunity. Ready? The biggest mistake is cleaning the coin. That innocent act of polishing to make it look better destroys collectible value. Collectors want originality, not shine from household cleaners. A sparkling penny from 1948 that's been scrubbed is worth far less than a naturally toned one with original surfaces. So if right now you were thinking about grabbing a toothbrush and toothpaste for your pennies, please put them down. Save the brushing for your teeth. Act 3 brings resolution and vision. You are not just watching a video about coins. You're confronting your relationship with hidden value in your life. The 1948 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is a symbol. It reminds you that unassuming things can unlock extraordinary outcomes. High-grade examples reaching into the hundreds of thousands and beyond prove that it only takes one right coin to transform stress into confidence, fear into freedom, and someday into now. Current market conversations put exceptional examples near astonishing figures, with standout pieces reported near the $948,000 mark under the right conditions and demand. That's not a lottery ticket. That's expertise, patience, and seizing a moment. Let's be real. You're between 30 and 65. You've worked hard. You've carried responsibilities. Families, mortgages, careers, setbacks you never saw coming. You deserve the option of a wealthier lifestyle, not built on fantasy, but on recognizing value others miss. That jar of pennies from your parents, that small inheritance, that box of coins sitting in your attic could be more than clutter. Could be your gateway to paying off debt, funding travel, or creating financial breathing room for the first time in years. And here's the final cliffhanger, the one that will stay with you after this video ends. Somewhere, out there right now, the next record-breaking 1948 no-mint mark Lincoln penny exists. It's not in a museum. It's not locked forever in a vault. It might be in a shoebox, a desk drawer, or a tin in the back of a closet. The only unanswered question is simple. Who will find it first? The clock is ticking. Old coins are sold, collections are broken apart, and opportunities quietly slip through fingers every day. Fear of missing out can paralyze you or propel you. Let it propel you. Take inventory of what you have. Learn the signs of value. Seek professional grading when warranted. Don't assume small means insignificant. Remember, wealth often whispers before it ever learns to shout. So as we close, picture this. You, months from now, looking back at today as the moment you decided to act. The moment you didn't shrug off your pennies, but inspected them, protected them, and discovered that history and wealth can fit in the palm of your hand. That's your story to write next. Now the only question left is this. Will you treat your pennies like pocket change or like possibilities? Imagine opening an old coffee can in your garage, brushing off the dust, and finding a simple brown penny, only to discover it could be worth more than a luxury home. Sounds unbelievable, right? Yet some 1950 Lincoln pennies have shocked collectors and investors, changing their owners' lives and rewriting what spare change really means. And no, this isn't a fairy tale. This is the world of rare numismatics, where knowledge turns copper into opportunity. Stay with me, because in the next few minutes we're going to uncover how an ordinary-looking 1950 Lincoln penny, the one many people overlook, has commanded jaw-dropping prices, with stories of value soaring toward the $1 million mark and a current market buzz near the high six figures. The difference between a penny worth 1 cent and one worth a fortune often comes down to details most people never even notice. And missing those details could literally cost you a wealthy lifestyle. But first, let me ask you something. When was the last time you really looked at a penny instead of tossing it into a jar? If your answer is never, don't worry, you're not alone. Most people ignore them, and that's exactly why treasures slip through fingers every single day. Funny, isn't it? We'll argue about gas prices, but let a six-figure penny sit in a kitchen drawer. Act 1 is about possibility, the fear of missing out, the excitement of discovery, and the urgency of timing. Because coins don't just sit still in value. Markets move, collectors compete, and opportunities disappear. So if you're between 30 and 65, sitting on old coin jars, inherited collections, or those mysterious rolls tucked away in a closet, this might be the moment that changes everything. Now let's open the story of the 1950 Lincoln penny. And be warned, what you're about to learn may have you digging through every coin you've ever owned tonight. To understand why the 1950 penny is powerful, we start with context. The D stands for the Denver Mint. Millions were produced, yes, and that's where many people stop thinking. They hear millions minted and assume worthless. But here's the twist. Value in coins isn't about how many existed. It's about how few survived in exceptional condition, with rare characteristics, untouched, uncirculated, or showing striking errors and exceptional eye appeal. This is where emotional tension enters the story. Picture someone who spent their whole life working hard, sometimes living paycheck to paycheck, while a six-figure coin sat forgotten in a drawer. The fear isn't imaginary, it's real. People throw away fortunes without knowing it. The question is whether you'll be one of them. What pushes the 1950 Lincoln penny into elite territory? Several forces come together. Condition. Coins graded at the highest levels, preserved like time capsules, can reach staggering prices. We're talking razor-sharp details in Lincoln's hair, blazing original luster, and immaculate surfaces. Rarity within rarity. Most 1950 D pennies circulated. The tiny percentage that didn't, the ones that remained pristine or carry striking errors like double dies, off-center strikes, or minting anomalies, that's where values explode. Demand. Collectors love complete Lincoln cent sets. Wealthy buyers compete for the best possible example. Competition fuels price, and competition creates urgency. And yes, stories circulate of 1950 D pennies reaching dreamlike figures, talked about in the same breath as luxury cars and high-end real estate. Today, high-grade, exceptional examples have been associated with valuations approaching the extraordinary, with market chatter hitting around the $900,000 range for truly elite specimens. But don't miss this key truth. Not every 1950 D penny is worth that. Knowledge and condition are everything. Let's interrupt your brain for a moment. What if the coin you dismissed yesterday is the coin someone else retires with tomorrow? If that doesn't reset your attention, maybe this will. Somewhere out there, someone once spent one of these rare pennies on a gumball. Painful thought, right? Now, how do you connect your story to this opportunity? You might have inherited a coin album from a parent. You might have pocket change from decades of daily life. You may even be thinking, I'm too late. You're not. The numismatic market is alive, driven by nostalgia, scarcity, and wealth creation. The door is still open. For now, we move now to the turning point in our story. Because the biggest transformation does not happen in the coin. It happens in you. From ignoring change to changing your financial future. But before we do, here's a cliffhanger for you. There is one specific characteristic on some 1950 D Lincoln pennies that can dramatically separate the ordinary from the extraordinary. A tiny detail that most people never notice with the naked eye. We'll get to that in just a moment. Let's talk about what separates the viewers who just watch videos from the people who act, sell smartly, and step into the lifestyle they truly want. Because watching isn't enough. Opportunity doesn't reward spectators. The 1950 D penny with serious value isn't just any coin. It's often one with exceptional grade, minimal contact marks, strong luster, and sometimes striking anomalies that specialists recognize instantly. Grading services, professional appraisals, and reputable auction houses exist for a reason. They bridge the gap between maybe I have something and here is a life-changing check. Here's where urgency comes in. Markets rise and fall. Demand cycles change. Right now, attention around rare Lincoln cents is strong, and competition among collectors is intense. Waiting can mean missing the wave. If you have old pennies, especially 1950 D, doing nothing may be the most expensive decision you ever make, and it costs you silently. Fear plays a role too, the fear of making the wrong move. What if you sell too cheap? What if you get scammed? Those are valid concerns. That's why education and professional verification matter. The right sale route can unlock real value. The wrong one turns potential wealth into pocket change. But here's the exciting part. Imagine converting something as small as a penny into paying off debt, traveling more, or funding a business. Imagine the emotional shift from, I hope someday, to I did it. Wealthy lifestyles don't always begin with salaries or stock portfolios. Sometimes they begin in a coin jar. Quick pattern interrupt for the mind. Who would have thought your childhood piggy bank might perform better than some retirement accounts? Funny. And a little uncomfortable, isn't it? Now back to that cliffhanger we left hanging earlier. Remember the tiny detail that can make all the difference? On certain rare examples of the 1950 D Lincoln penny, collectors look closely for sharp strikes, mint luster, and rare die varieties. Something as subtle as doubling, mint mark placement quirks, or exceptional strike quality can separate a $5 coin from a six-figure one. Tiny details, massive consequences. That's the magic of numismatics. And the danger of ignorance. So here's your transition from story to action. Your next step isn't complicated. Look through your coins, especially those from the 1940s and 1950s. Treat every 1950 D penny as a potential asset until proven otherwise. If something looks unusually crisp, shiny, or different, Don't clean it, don't polish it, don't experiment with it. Preserve it and get it evaluated. Cleaning coins can destroy value faster than a bad investment decision. The power is now in your hands. Literally.as we close our 3-act journey. Remember this. We began with a penny and ended with possibility. We moved from doubt to awareness, from fear of missing out to excitement for opportunity, from "it's just change" to "this could change my life." Which side of that story you live in next is up to you. Before you toss your next penny aside, pause. That little disc of copper has carried presidents, economies, history, and maybe your future. And somewhere out there, someone will discover the next record-breaking 1950 D Lincoln penny. The only question is a simple one: why not you? Imagine opening an old jar of coins you inherited, the kind that's followed you through moves and spring cleanings, and realizing one small copper penny could change the course of your life. Stay with me, because today we're talking about a humble 1952 mint mark Lincoln penny that has shocked collectors, crossed auction blocks, and reached values people once thought were impossible. Yes, we're talking prices climbing into the hundreds of thousands, with standout examples touching the realm most people associate with luxury homes, not pocket change. Before you think, it's just a penny, ask yourself this. What if the key to your next chapter has been hiding in plain sight, jingling in a forgotten tin? The first act of the story begins, like all great treasure hunts, with something ordinary. The 1952 Lincoln penny rolled out of the San Francisco Mint during a time when the country was rebuilding dreams, redefining prosperity, and tucking away loose change without a second thought. Millions were struck. They bought groceries, paid bus fares, and disappeared into drawers. Nothing glamorous, nothing flashy. And yet, tucked inside that ocean of copper are rare survivors whose perfection, striking errors, color, and preservation elevate them far beyond their 1-cent face value. Here's the twist that sparks both fear and excitement. Most people walked past these tiny fortunes. They spent them. They lost them. Some literally paved driveways with them. And yet a few pristine, near-flawless coins sat untouched, waiting for the right pair of hands to recognize them. Now pause a moment. When was the last time you actually looked at a penny? Not glanced. Looked. If your answer is, never, congratulations, you just felt the first pattern interrupt. It's funny how we worry over the big stuff and ignore the tiny things that could change everything. That's the quiet danger here. The fear of missing out isn't hype. It's real. Because the most valuable finds in the coin world rarely announce themselves. They hide under dust. As we transition deeper into the story, the stakes rise. Because value in coins is not random magic. It is a powerful mixture of rarity, demand, condition, mint mark, errors, luster, and professional grading. The mint mark under the date, the sharpness of Lincoln's profile, the clean fields with minimal contact marks, the fiery red color preserved for over 70 years. These details separate a common pocket piece from a life-altering discovery. Some select 1952 pennies in exceptional condition have stunned the market, with collector demand pushing standout examples into astonishing territory. Recent headline-grabbing sales, premium grades, and rare varieties have approached values that make people sit up straight, with top-tier pieces discussed around figures many would associate with luxury cars or homes rather than copper cents, including cases spoken of near the mid-six figures such as $952,000. And no, that's not a typo. That's the moment in the movie where the music swells and you realize the tiny hero of the story was never tiny. But let's be clear and authoritative. Not every 1952 penny is worth a fortune. Most are worth only modest premiums. The danger is in assuming yours is worthless without checking, just as the danger is assuming instant riches without understanding what makes one truly valuable. That tension, between maybe everything and maybe nothing, is the cliffhanger you're living with until you examine the coin in your hands. And if you feel your heart rate increase just thinking about it, that's your intuition talking. The second act begins when curiosity turns into action. This is the transformation point. You move from someone with an old jar to someone who knows how to extract real value. The process is precise and powerful. You learn to spot that mint mark, examine the date, Look for strong original red color. Note any striking errors like off-center strikes or double details, and understand why a professionally graded coin in top mint state can command staggering prices while a worn pocket piece cannot. You don't have to be a lifelong collector to do this. You need attention, intention, and the willingness to treat your coins as potential assets rather than trinkets. Here's a quick mental jolt to reset your attention. If pennies could talk, how many would be screaming, "I'm worth more than your couch"? Right now from the bottom of a coffee can? That image sticks because it's funny, and it's also uncomfortably possible. The fear of throwing away value is real. So is the excitement of knowing that your next step could unlock serious money. For people aged 30 to 65, balancing families, retirements, and new financial goals, this isn't just coin collecting. It's strategic wealth awareness. As we glide forward, notice how seamlessly one realization connects to the next. Old coin becomes potential asset. Potential asset becomes evaluated treasure. Evaluated treasure becomes leveraged opportunity, the kind that can fund dreams, pay debts, support kids, or simply build wealth. That is why so many successful sellers do not approach coins casually. They approach them with knowledge and confidence. The authoritative truth is this: the market rewards rarity, authenticity, and condition, and it rewards those who move decisively when opportunity appears. Now for another cliffhanger. In just a moment, I'll tell you the single biggest mistake people make that costs them thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands, when dealing with coins like the 1952 penny. Before that, ask yourself a bold question. If your penny really were worth high 5 or 6 figures, would you be ready to act today? Or would hesitation cost you the moment? That little knot in your stomach is urgency. It's the same feeling the most successful sellers listen to and use as fuel. Here it is. The biggest mistake is cleaning or polishing the coin. That helpful shine destroys original surfaces and value. It is the difference between a museum piece and a damaged trinket. Coins should be left exactly as found and evaluated by professionals if they appear promising. One careless wipe can erase decades of preserved value. And yes, it has cost people fortunes. That's the fear trigger again, but it is also empowerment because knowing this instantly separates you from beginners. The third act is all about resolution, the point where knowledge becomes lifestyle. Finding and selling valuable coins like an exceptional 1952 penny is not only about money. It is about reclaiming overlooked value, turning history into opportunity, and stepping into the wealth-minded identity you've always known you were capable of. You are not chasing luck. You are making informed decisions. Whether your coin is worth $10 or $952,000, the act of learning, looking, and acting decisively puts you among the few who don't let opportunity slip away. Picture it for a moment. Mailing off a coin for grading, checking the results, seeing that top-tier designation, the auctioneer's voice calling out bids higher and higher, your life opening into new choices, travel, investments, security, legacy for your family. And it all began with a penny most people would ignore. That's not fantasy. That's the real power of knowledge paired with action in the collectibles market. Before we close, another gentle pattern interrupt. How ironic is it that the same coin we drop on the floor and don't bother to pick up could be worth more than your car? It's almost comical. And yet, here you are, now among the few who know better. That laugh you just had? Hold on to it. It's the sound of confidence replacing doubt, so here is your call to action wrapped in urgency. Don't wait. Not tomorrow, not someday when I have time. Go through your coins. Look closely at those 1952 dates with the S-mint mark. Separate anything that looks unusually sharp, red, bright, or error-struck. Resist the urge to clean. Seek evaluation from reputable grading services or experienced dealers. Markets move. Opportunities open and close. Wealth favors the prepared, not the procrastinating. And just when you think the story is over, here is the final cliffhanger. Somewhere in a drawer, a basement, or a coffee can in America, another 1952 Lincoln penny sits quietly, undisturbed, unrecognized, waiting for someone like you to discover it. The question is not whether such coins exist. The question is whether you will be the one who finds yours, or whether your story will end with the words, "I almost checked, Your journey from pocket change to potential prosperity begins with awareness, is powered by action, and is rewarded by courage. You want to sell old and rare pennies. You want to live wealthier, freer, more abundantly. Today, you gained the knowledge. Now you hold the responsibility. Open that jar. Check that coin. Your next chapter might be smaller than a postage stamp and made of copper, but its impact could be worth far more than you ever imagined. Imagine opening an old coffee can from the back of a closet, brushing aside a film of dust, and discovering a dull brown penny that suddenly makes your pulse race. Not because it shines, but because of a tiny letter beneath the date that could change everything. Today we are talking about the 1956 D Mint Mark Lincoln penny, the unassuming copper coin that some collectors chase with the intensity usually reserved for gold rushes. And yes, in top-graded condition and under the right circumstances, values discussed in the current market orbit figures as high as $956,000. Stay with me because over the next few minutes we will journey from kitchen table pocket change to the upper tiers of numismatic wealth, and by the end, you will know exactly what separates a penny that buys gum from a penny that buys freedom. Act 1 begins with a question that can make your heart skip. What if the fortune you have been chasing was sitting in a jar the entire time? For decades, the 1956 D Lincoln penny has circulated unnoticed, jingling in pockets, sliding across counters, tumbling through coin sorters. Most are common, but a rare few are different, and those differences are everything. The Denver Mint in 1956 struck millions of cents, but in the mass production process came opportunity. Tiny minting variations, double dies, striking anomalies, condition rarities preserved untouched, tucked away in rolls, forgotten in safety boxes. The fear that keeps many people stuck is simple. They assume all pennies are just pennies, and they throw possibility into change machines. The excitement, knowing that one coin in the right condition with the right characteristics has been discussed in the market at life-changing prices. Right now you might be wondering, could that be me? Or did I already spend it on a vending machine snack? That sudden urge to run to your coin jar is perfectly normal. Before you sprint off, let's deepen the story. Behind Abraham Lincoln's calm copper profile is a drama of supply, demand, scarcity, and human desire. Coins are not just metal. They are stories frozen in time, graded by experts, chased at auction, whispered about in collector circles. Condition matters immensely. A 1956 D penny that lived a hard life in daily circulation will rarely command big numbers. But a pristine piece, preserved, unblemished, sharply struck, can ignite bidding wars. That is where the current conversation around values nearing $956,000 comes alive. Not for every penny, not even for most, but for the rarest, highest certified examples combined with dramatic mint errors that collectors crave. The authority of the grading services, the certification slabs, the population reports all feed into price. Fear and urgency meet here too. Once the finest known examples are in strong hands, opportunities vanish. The market moves and hesitation costs. Have you ever noticed how the best opportunities never announce themselves with a marching band? Now we transition to Act 2, the journey. This is the part where knowledge becomes power. If you want to sell old and rare pennies, this is where confidence replaces guesswork. Start with awareness. Every detail matters. The D Mint mark below the date identifies Denver. Look closer. Are there signs of doubling in letters or numbers, unusually crisp details, or errors like off-center strikes? Humor break for your attention. No, biting the coin like an old prospector will not help, though it might confuse your dog. Next comes condition. Uncirculated coins with original luster, no scratches, no fingerprints, can leap in value. Professional grading can turn a maybe into a market-proven asset. And then comes provenance and timing. The coin market is alive, responsive, emotional. Big auction results ripple outward, fueling desire and pushing ceilings higher. The current climate, with prices discussed around $956,000 for extraordinary examples, has inspired many owners to finally step forward. The question is, will you be among them, or will your opportunity sleep another decade in a drawer? Let's lean into excitement for a moment. Picture this: your coin is authenticated, graded at the top of the scale, and bidding begins. Hands go up, numbers climb, and suddenly you realize this tiny copper disc is no longer small change. It is a catalyst. Debts disappear. Dreams expand. That cabin by the lake. That financial cushion that lets you choose how you live, not just how you survive. That wealthy lifestyle people imagine but rarely plan toward deliberately. Money itself is not the goal. Options are. And a rare coin, the right one, can be an option machine. But here comes the cliffhanger. How do you know you are not about to undersell it? How do you avoid being the person who let a six-figure or even seven-figure treasure go for the price of lunch? Stay with me because Act 3 is where everything connects. Before we step into the final act, a quick pattern interrupt to reset your brain. If pennies could talk, the 1956 D would probably say, "I may be small, but I'm not cheap." Now back to the mission. Act 3 is about action and urgency. Knowledge without movement is regret waiting to happen. If you own old and rare Lincoln cents, especially 1950s Denver issues, the time to act is not someday. Markets shift. Collections change hands. Opportunity rewards those who are prepared. The current market attention on extraordinary 1956 D examples touches figures around $956,000, and buzz attracts buyers and sellers alike. This window may not look the same forever. The fear of missing out is real, but so is the relief of taking decisive, informed steps. Here is how your story could unfold from here. You pull out your coin jars, albums, and inherited boxes. You examine dates and mint marks carefully. You identify promising pieces. You consult reputable grading services or trusted coin dealers, not random quick cash offers. You learn the language of grades. Mint state, red-brown, red, strike, luster. You give yourself permission to believe that wealth does not have to come from lottery tickets or corporate ladders alone. It can come from knowledge and attention to detail. And then comes the cliffhanger moment in your life. You are standing at the threshold of selling. Do you list too low? Do you accept the first offer? Or do you hold firm, understanding exactly what you have and what it can command? As we bring this journey to a close, remember this essential truth. Ordinary-looking objects can carry extraordinary value, and the 1956 D Lincoln penny is proof. The story of this coin mirrors the story of opportunity itself. Hidden, overlooked, waiting for someone with the courage and curiosity to see differently. Whether your coin ultimately brings hundreds, thousands, or numbers closer to that $956,000 mark spoken about in today's market conversations, the real win is stepping out of hesitation and into informed action. The fear of "what if I miss it" becomes the excitement of "what if this is it?" So ask yourself right now, what is sitting in your house that you have not yet truly looked at? Which drawer holds not just a coin, but a turning point? Do not let this be another video you watch and forget. Take the next step. Investigate, evaluate, decide. Because somewhere out there, a 1956 D penny is waiting to rewrite someone's story. The only lingering question is beautifully suspenseful. Will it be yours? Imagine holding a single penny in your hand and feeling the weight of nearly $1 million resting between your fingertips. What if that unassuming little coin in your drawer, forgotten, unnoticed, perhaps even dusty, could be the key that unlocks the life you've always dreamed of? Today, we're diving deep into one of the most valuable U.S. pennies ever discovered. A coin so rare it can sell for nearly $1 million. Stay with me. You're about to discover something that could literally change your financial future. Before we go further, let me ask you something. Have you ever glanced at an old coin and thought, what if this is worth something huge? Most people toss them into jars, into boxes, or into the bottom of a drawer. But what if that exact coin, with the right date and mint mark, is worth more than your car? I'm serious. Not $100, not $1,000, but close to $1 million. That's what makes today's story so electrifying. Let's roll back the clock to the late 1950s, post-war America. The economy was booming, families were growing, and pennies were being minted by the millions to make everyday transactions possible. One of these coins was the 1958 D Lincoln penny, ordinary at first glance but extraordinary beneath the surface. Most circulated pennies from this era have little numismatic value, maybe a few cents to a few dollars at best. But occasionally, one emerges so pristine and rare that collectors go absolutely wild. I mean, like almost $1 million wild. And yes, that's not a clickbait figure. It's the real current market valuation for the top-graded specimen. Now take a deep breath because here's where it gets intense. Imagine finding one of these rare gems in your own change. You're at the grocery store, you hand over what you think are ordinary pennies, and suddenly, something stops you mid-transaction. A tiny detail, almost imperceptible, catches your eye. A mint mark, an unusual shine, a perfect strike. Your heart skips a beat. Your palms sweat. That's the moment between normal and life-changing. Most people would simply spend that penny without a second thought. But you, lucky you, you paused. You noticed. And that pause could mean nearly $1 million. Now let's talk about why this particular 1958 D penny can be worth so much. It all comes down to rarity and condition. The Denver Mint struck millions of pennies in 1958, but nearly all were spent, lost, or worn down. Only a tiny handful survived in uncirculated, pristine conditions, and an even smaller number have the perfect strike and surface collectors crave. In the coin world, that's like finding a perfect, untouched diamond in a haystack. Or, in your attic. Let's take a quick detour, because you might be wondering what makes this coin so special compared to every other penny minted that year. Picture this: two identical pennies side by side. One is dull, scratched from decades of everyday use. The other gleams like it was struck yesterday. They look nearly the same, yet one is worth pocket change, and the other could buy you a luxury car. Weird, right? That contrast is what makes coin collecting explosive. And yes, it's possible you already own something like that without knowing it right now. But here's the part that gets folks nervous. Most people don't know how to tell the difference. They see pennies and think they're worthless. That's fear speaking. Fear of missing out, fear of discovering you've had a treasure in your pocket all along. And it's exactly that fear that drives serious collectors and sellers to act quickly when a rare penny surfaces. Because in this market, hesitation can cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars. So how do you know if your 1958 D penny is one of those rare $1 million specimens? The key factors are condition and grading. Coins are evaluated by professional services that assign grades based on wear, luster, strike quality, and surface preservation. The higher the grade, the more valuable the coin. A flawless 1958 D penny with top grading is like a perfectly preserved piece of history, and serious collectors will pay extraordinary amounts to add it to their collection. Here's a pattern interrupt. When was the last time a penny gave you butterflies? Probably never, but this one might. Because it's not just metal, it's a potential life changer. Now let's talk urgency. Rare coins don't stay hidden forever. Once word gets out that a coin like this exists, collectors from around the world start circling. Auctions become battlegrounds. Phones ring off the hook, and prices escalate rapidly. If you suspect you've got something special, waiting could mean losing out on tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. The market moves fast, and it waits for no one. So here's what you should do next. Gather your old pennies. Dust them off. Look at the date and mint mark under good light. If you spot a 1958 D penny that looks shiny, sharp, and uncirculated, don't ignore it. That could be the prize of a lifetime. Get it evaluated by a professional grading service before someone else does. And if you're thinking, this sounds too good to be true, let me tell you a secret. Almost every collector heard that same thought before they struck gold. Or in this case, nearly $1 million penny. Before we wrap up, let me leave you with this cliffhanger. What if your next grocery change could be the key to your financial breakthrough? What if the coin you threw in a jar years ago turns out to be the ticket to the lifestyle you've always wanted? You won't know until you check. So take action. Don't let fear hold you back. Excitement is great, but urgency wins the day. Dive into your coin stash, look for that 1958 D Lincoln penny, and get it examined. You might just be holding the most valuable penny in America. Remember, and this is important, fortune favors the curious and the bold. If you enjoyed this and want to uncover more rare coin stories that could transform your life, hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for what's coming next. Because your treasure might be waiting, and your next $1 million discovery could be just one penny away.